She could not believe it. Her father had just disowned her and favored her half-brother. Her dad was the Greek god of the sea, and he had just abandoned her for his son. She was angry with her father. She was going to make him regret leaving her for her half-brother. She ran through the forest as silently as she could. She had just used the mist, a magical force, to make it look like a hellhound tore her apart. She set it up on the border of the camp. The camp's name was Camp Olympia, or as she called it, Camp Only Once. But some campers saw her movement after they found her body. She also saw her father cradle her corpse. His screams echoed through her mind. She smiled at the memory. She soon came to a monster camp. It looked like they were planning on taking over the world. But before she could do anything, she saw a flash of light. Standing before her was the Queen of the Heavens, the Lord of the Dead, and the Goddess of the Hearth. She refused to bow. They knew she was angry with their brother. They then asked her if she would become their champion. She agreed, politely. The Lord of the Dead and Goddess of the Hearth then asked if they could adopt her. She agreed to the adoption as well. The two deities smiled at her. They then used their powers to adopt her and bless her. All three of the deities then sent her to save demigods from abusive households. As she saved demigods, she would run from the households with each child in her arms. She would take them to safe places like the Hunt or, God's forbid, Camp Olympia. She did this for several years without being caught. Then her mother told her in her mind that the king of the gods wanted to bring her in. She agreed to be flashed to Olympus. She was also glad that she had a hood on. Once she got to the throne room of Olympus, most of the gods were yelling at that she should take her hood off. Soon the king of the gods stood up, and everyone became quiet. He asked her to remove her hood. She did, and all of the gods sat there in shock. The god of the sea, stood up and went to hug her. She moved away from him, not wanting to be anywhere near him. The sea god frowned at that, and tears began to well up from the realization that she had not forgiven him for what he did to her several years ago. She then walked over to the Lord of the Dead and hugged him. All of the other gods were surprised when he hugged her back and called her daughter. The sea god had tears streaming down his face. He did not want to believe that his daughter would call his brother father. The king of the gods then got a thoughtful look on his face. Then he realized that she was the one that younger demigods would call Onyx. The other gods also seemed to realize this. The three deities who already knew who she was smiled brightly at the sight of their champion. They knew she had brought them honor and glory. They were the ones who gave her the name Onyx, as it was the name of a black stone. Their king then looked at them in suspicion and realized what was going on. Onyx then glared at the king of the gods, daring him to say anything against her patrons. He out of fear of getting on her bad side, did not say anything. The sea god, however, wanted to get her back, but knew that he messed up.